Hi everyone, I hope you are well and you are coping today. It is Friday and it's also a long weekend, so I hope you are all as excited as I am. This will be my last lesson with you as we will welcome a new math teacher on Tuesday after the long weekend. Just take note that your classes will also change. So the time will change. You will not have maths with me from 4 to 5 anymore. You will now have maths every day at 8. So I hope you have a nice breakfast, have some coffee, and that you're ready nice and fresh in the morning for some math classes. So I hope all of you are ready for a productive math session. Let's go. Just a bit about me. So my name is Shantae. I'm your grade 10 math tutor. It was lovely being with you up until today, but I'll be leaving to teach accounting, which is actually my passion for the grade 12s. We will be doing factorization and trigonometry as well. We'll finish off some of our factorization we started with yesterday, so don't worry, we'll go through it slowly, do 2 more exercises, and then move over to the basics of trigonometry. So basically, we will be doing the basics and then we'll move on, and I hope your teacher will then move on to more difficult trigonometry. Okay. Just some admin and information for you. So all of you, by this time, we've now gone a whole week on Microsoft Teams. We've moved away from Zoom. We are on Microsoft Teams. So if you know if there's any of your friends that's still not using our fantastic platform, I want to encourage you to let them know how they can register. So what you do is you go to www.africateengeeks.co.za, you register your email address, and we will be sending you a link every single day to our fantastic classes. Okay, so to all of those newcomers, you are very, very welcome. It's lovely having you here, and we look forward to the journey ahead. If you want to follow us on social media, please don't be scared to go and follow us at Africa Teen Geeks. So let's get to it. We did factorization and we said, okay, there are 5 ways to factorize. We said, okay, we have a common factor, we have the differences between 2 squares, we have trinomial grouping, and the sum and differences of cubes. Now, where this comes into play and why it's important that I keep on repeating it every lesson is that with the common factor, you always look out for the common factor. So I want you to, these are your little flags. These are your flags or your light bulbs to say your triggers. I usually refer to it as triggers. So these are your triggers you look for to say, okay, what do I need to look for? Okay, now, when it's 2 terms, it usually it's either the sum and the differences of cubes or the difference between 2 squares. When we have 3 terms, it's usually a trinomial factorization. When there's 4 or 5 terms, it's usually grouping. Okay, so then we had a look at the finding a common factor. We said, okay, remember, we're taking out the a because it's the common one in the 2 terms. If there's 2 terms, there has to be 2 terms in the bracket as well. We have our differences between 2 squares. And that's where we stopped yesterday. So then we looked at number 1, we looked at number 2, and we looked at number 7. And most of you got it right. Okay, so that's absolutely fantastic. Something I want you to see is, can you see when it's a plus and a minus in the brackets, that these will cancel out? Whereas I quickly want to see if I have an example for you to show you. Yeah, yes. So where with these, if now I want you to see the difference basically. Can you see that these are basically two minuses? This will create a third term. Okay, so this will create a middle term, which will obviously lead to there being three terms, meaning it falls in my trinomial group. Let me quickly repeat that so that it makes sense. So when we have a plus and a minus in the brackets, that will imply that when we make sure, okay, we say x times 5, 5 times x, 5 times 5, these middle term, there will be no middle term because the middle term will cancel out. And I will only be left with the difference between two squares, meaning, look at the answer, x to the power of 2 minus 25. Whereas when we look at our trinomial sum and we have an x minus and another x minus, not a plus and minus, that's the difference between the two I showed you, then with that will create a middle term, which will form a third term. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. That's important for you to know before we move on to our next question. So I don't want to show you. You guys like me zooming in a bit. So let me zoom in so you all can see. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to quickly do number 1 and number 2. So just do number 1 and number 2. I'll be giving you each 5 minutes to do number 1 and number 2. Okay, it seems as if everyone is done, so I didn't need to give you 5 minutes. It looks like only 3. Well done. So let us mark. Okay, can you see we are working with differences between two squares? So if we look at this example, we have to get KP and another bracket, K plus P, another bracket, so times K minus P. And why is that? So this is where I say it's so important to know exactly when to identify what. So we can see, because we have K to the power of 2 and we have P to the power of 2, and very, very important, there's a minus. Okay, there has to be a minus. Okay, we can see, okay, this triggers the difference between two squares. So have a look here. Just like you have x to the power of 2 minus y to the power of 2, that will create a bracket of x plus y and x minus y. How come? Because if I say, okay, x times x will create x to the power of 2, then I'll get x times y times x, I'll get plus xy. And then I go over and I say, okay, x times minus y, we will be getting minus xy. And then the last ones, y times y, would give minus y to the power of 2. Let's see if they actually wrote it out so that, okay, so they didn't. But I'm now explaining it to you. Oops. So that you can understand why. So can you see, with this being a plus and this being a minus, the middle term will be cancelling each other out. And the same here, I have a square and I have a square, but I have a minus. So the middle term will cancel each other out, okay? And therefore I have plus and minus. The same here, okay? I can say, what is, let's say, 9, so it's going to be 3, because 3 times 3 is going to give me 9. 8 times 8 is going to be 8 to the power of 2. 5 is going to give me minus 25, okay? Squares, remember these are the differences, the square. So the square, can you see these are all squares? Okay, so therefore that will give you 3a plus 5b minus, look at that. Why? Because if I do now and I go and I say 3a times 3a, because I'm testing myself, I'm going to get 9a to the power of 2. Then I'm going to say, okay, what's the two middle terms? So it's going to be plus 15, because 3 times 5 is 15, 15ab. Okay. Then I'm going to say, okay, far off is minus 15ab. And then the last one is going to be minus 25b to the power of 2. So can you see that the middle minus 15ab and the plus 15ab cancels each other out? Okay, so I hope you understand that. Let me just zoom in more. Okay, now what we want to do is we want to move over to the trinomial section. Okay, we want to see, now remember with the difference between two squares, I said the secret there was it was different signs. So we had a x plus 5 and we had a x minus 5. Now we have two minuses. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to quickly see if you can give me answer number 1, number 2, and number 5. So please do number 1, number 2, and number 5. What I want you to do is I want you to do it exactly the same way as we're doing it here to make sure that you factorize it correctly. Okay, seems as if everyone is done. Let us quickly look at the answers. Just want to zoom out for my... Okay, here we go. So I hope you got the answer. Of x squared minus 10x plus 25. Do you guys get that answer? Well, how did they get that answer? Let's quickly have a look. So we said x times x, maybe I should just zoom out till 25 so I can have both the answer. No, it's not going to work. Okay, so it's going to be x times x is x to the power of 2. Minus 5 times x is going to give me minus 5x. Then I have the outers, so I'm going to say x times minus 5. It's going to give me minus 5x again. And I'm going to do the last two, which is minus 5 times minus 5 is going to give me plus 25. Okay, that's very important. Can you see, because there's two minuses, I now have a middle term. Okay, that's something to look out for. Then we have number 2. So here we have a 7y. Okay, so don't worry about that. Don't get confused. It's fine. So we have x times x is x to the power of 2 plus 7y times x is going to give me 7xy. Okay, then I'm going to go over and I'm going to say this gives me plus 7xy. And then I'm going to say 7 times 7 is 49y to the power of 2. And this is going to stay a plus because I'm multiplying two pluses together. Can you see that my plus 7xy and my plus 7xy will be forming plus 14xy. Okay, something to take note of. Then we move over to number 5. Okay, now here let's go to number 5. It says we have 4x plus x plus 4 to the power of 2. So that's 2 brackets, right? And we have a one that says bracket x minus 4, right? 2 brackets. So I hope you got the answer of x to the power of 2 plus 8x plus 16, x to the power of 2 minus 8x plus 16. Now let's quickly have a look. How did they do that? So here we say, this is going to give me x plus 4 plus x plus 4, right? Then I'm going to have x times x is x to the power of 2. I'm reading you what your answer is supposed to look like. Okay, so that's why it's not written here, because that's what your answer was supposed to look like. So it would be x plus 4 and x plus 4, and it would be x times x is x to the power of 2. Plus 4 times x would be plus 4x. Then I do my outers, so it's going to be x times plus 4, it's going to give me plus 4x again. So I'm sitting with 2 plus 4x's, and then I'm going to say 4 times 4 is 16. Can you see that my sign continues to say plus because I'm using a plus always, right? Multiplying with a plus stays a plus. So those middle terms are going to give me plus 8x. Okay. When I look at number 5, the last one, it says x minus 4. So it's going to be x minus 4, x minus 4. Then we go x times x is x to the power of 2. X minus 4 times x is going to give me minus 4x. Then we have the outer, so it's going to be x times minus 4 again, which is going to give me minus 4x again. So these two together will then form part and be minus 8x. You will then also multiply the last two, so it's 4 times 4. But can you see we're working with a minus? We're working with our minus. So if we are working with our minus, that means that we have a plus, because minus 4 times minus 4 will give me plus 16. And therefore, I have plus 36. 16, I was correct. Plus 16. Okay, 4 times 4 is 16. And I'll doubted myself there for a moment. Okay, so it's 16. Okay, now I hope you're all happy, because that's how far we're going to go with factorization, because I know all of you keep on asking me, ma'am, when are we going to do trigonometry? When are we going to do it? Well, on this lovely Friday, we will be starting with trigonometry. So I'm not going to bore you with the basics. Let's just wait while it loads. Okay, I'm not going to bore you with the basics of the ratios, the lines, your all of these, your x and your axis, your points, your angles. I'm not going to bore you with them, but what I am going to do is I'm just going to leave it on for a moment. I'm going to leave this one on for about 30 seconds. I'm going to leave each one of these, each of the first pre-trigonometry, I'm going to just leave this here so that you can make sure that you screenshot it, you quickly take a photo, because these are the things that you have to have in your book. Okay, you have to have this in your book. You have to go through it. This will help you succeed in trigonometry. Okay, so I'm going to give you 30 seconds to quickly screenshot this or take a photo. Okay, I'll move on to this. Excuse our dog. Okay, now let's start with our lovely trigonometry. I know this is everyone's favorite topic, and yes, I am being sarcastic. Okay, so why trigonometry? It says the need for trigonometry arose when certain distances or angles were difficult or impossible to measure directly. Okay, so then they invented trigonometry and they said, so we had an angle of 52 degrees, and then we said, okay, we have a 15 meter, but what is the height? What is this height? And we said the height of the kite of 15 meters of string flown at an angle of 52 degrees. This angle is called the angle of elevation. Okay, so now we say we needed to find a way, basically all what they're saying is we needed to find a way to see, okay, how high is this kite actually flying? And if we saw that, look at the plane wanting to fly, it says the angle at which this plane took off. We needed to see what is this angle of elevation? What is it? Okay, so now it says trigonometry links the angles of a triangle to a ratio of its sides, and this makes it possible to achieve the impossible. Okay, this makes the airplane how it's going to fly, what angle, how fast it needs to take off, how slowly it needs to land, at what angle does it need to land, what angle does it need to take off. So all of these things are taken into account, okay, with trigonometry, okay. How does it work? So we have three very important angles, okay. Each angle has three important numbers associated with it. Okay, so we have three important angles. Can you see it's these three? Okay, it's 1, 2, and 3. Now it says, let's look at acute angles. And we have the sin angle, we have the cos angle, and we have the tan angle. Okay, and if we place our acute angle in a right angle triangle, then these numbers are ratios of the sides of the right triangle. So get to know these well. So can you see when I refer to I want to move a bit away from here to my sin. Okay, let's see sin. So what is sin equal to? So the angle of sin, this one, the angle of sin, this is sin. The angle of sin is equal to what? To 3/5. Okay, why? It's my opposite over my hypotenuse, right? So when I look at my cos angle, which is going to be, did I not say, the sin angle is this one. Sorry guys, made a small mistake. Now I'm going to say my cos angle is this one that I explained just now, and my tan angle will be this angle. Okay, so now it says, let's look at this, then this explains it much better. So we have our sin, right? We have our sin. We said, okay, it's this angle. Can you see this angle? Okay, this corner. So now we say, you go from the angle, right? From the angle, you go opposite and then land on the. So here's your angle, right? So we go opposite and we go. Here's my opposite, and then we land on the hypotenuse. Okay, this is my hypotenuse. Just take note of that. This is my hypotenuse. Okay, so then we have sin is equal to 3/5. Can you see my sin is always these sides? Have a look at where my acute angle is. Have a look where the angle is that we are taking into account now. Okay, opposite and land on the hypotenuse. Okay, that's how we know. Then we look at cos. Now cos, here's my angle again. We say we go alongside the angle. Here we go alongside the angle. And we land on my hypotenuse. Can you see? So they try to show you this angle is sin. This is then cos. Okay, so what would tan be? We left with this, right? So if you take a color and you highlight this in pink, and you take a color and you highlight this in blue, then we are left with orange. We need our orange angle. So how is it going to look? It says go opposite and then land on the alongside one. So here we go opposite and then we land on our alongside. Can you see alongside and opposite? Okay, make these little summaries for you. So now I'm going to give you 2 minutes to quickly do B, C, and D. Take the answer, what they said, they explained to you in A, then do B, C, and D. So here we go. Sin A is the angle, right? We need to see. So if sin is then this one and this one, can you see it's going to be 5 over 13? Can you see that your hypotenuse will always be at the bottom? So well, if you're using your hypotenuse, okay, if you are using your hypotenuse. So it's very important to see which one you write first, okay? Why it's so important, why this is so important, which one you go opposite first and which one you land on second, because that's going to determine what is on top of what, okay? So here we have B over 13. That would be my sin. Okay, cos would be my hypotenuse and my alongside, we said, right? So it's going to be 12 over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse is always at the bottom, remember, when I use it. So, and then my tan is going to be this angle. So it's going to be 5 over my alongside, because they say go opposite first and then land on my alongside angle. So therefore you go 5 over 12. Okay, quickly do B, C, and D. Okay, are you almost done? Okay, I think that was quite an easy exercise, but it's so important. Why I'm going back to the basics is that you don't get confused. This is the basics, but it's called the basics for a reason, so that you can stick to it when things get harder, okay? So now we say, okay, we want sin B, right? So how do we go? We go opposites, and then we land on the hypotenuse. So the correct answer would then be 8 over 17. Can you see 8 over 17? Here's my answer right at the bottom. Maybe I should zoom in a bit for you guys. Okay. Now it says cos is 15 over 17 and tan is 8 over 15. Now why? Let's have a look. Why did they say that? So we have angle B, and now we have 8. So sin was 8. Opposite, you land opposite and you get to 17. Cos is you go alongside and you land on your hypotenuse. Okay, tan, you go and you say, okay, what is I go opposite, and then I go alongside. So that was that one. Okay, C is basically the same. They're all you'll see in the next one they ask it a bit differently, but it's exactly the same. So 7 over 25, cos is 24 over 25, and then tan is 7 over 24. Okay. I quickly want to move on before, quickly want to do exercise 5.2, just number one, before we leave, before we end our session. Basically, I just want you to see that it changes from if I look from angle A and angle B. Okay, so use this as your angle, okay, and use this as your angle, and quickly do number one. Giving you 2 minutes to quickly do number one. Okay, guys, let's quickly have a look. Just zoom out so I can easily find it. Okay, here we go. So we're looking at sin A, right? So we're looking only from A. We're ignoring this B. We're making as if it doesn't exist, and we're only looking at this. So it goes, and we say sin is 3 over 5. Why? Because can you identify the hypotenuse? How you identify is it's always across from your acute angle. Can you see? So the first step is then to identify where's your acute angle and to identify, okay, where am I working from? Okay, so this is my acute angle. My hypotenuse, this is my acute angle. So therefore, sin is going to be 3 over 5. When I look at B, okay, again, it's going to go and we're going to say opposite. So that's why they use 4. And my hypotenuse, opposite and hypotenuse. That's why it's 4 over 5. Then we're going to say cos. Okay, what does cos mean? Cos A. So it's going to say we're going to go. Where are we going to go? Alongside and hypotenuse. Remember, alongside and hypotenuse. Cos of B will then be alongside and hypotenuse. Now let's see, last one, tan. Last one before we leave. So tan, we have tan A would be you go opposite and then alongside. Can you see opposite and then alongside? So then with B, it would be opposite and then alongside. Can you see that it just changes? Opposite and then alongside. That's why opposite and alongside is so important. I'm just quickly going to go back. Please take a photo of this. This is very important and it helps you to identify what goes over what. Okay, so now we are done with today's lesson. I hope you had a wonderful lesson with me. Yes. So good luck during this lockdown. I wish you well, and I know you will be succeeding in maths. Bye bye.
Bye. Hoor,
Hallo.
moenie die call stop nie. Jy kan jouself net
Okay.
op mute sit.
Okay.
Microsoft toets net wat verkeerd gaan met ons goed.
Okay. Perfect. 100%. Ek gaan dalk net soos 5 voor 5 moet eindig of kan ek
Yes,
twee
yes.
calls gelyktydig doen?
Okay, jy kan 2 calls gelyktydig doen. Jy
Okay,
sit
maar dan
op my
los
net
ek
dan net
hierdie
op
een.
hou.
O, okay. Okay, maar as ons daar kom na die klok toets, iets kom ons wees rustig. Ek is nou weg van Renier af. Iemand anders, so Gary of so iemand doen nou my ander calls.
O, okay.
Doen nou my ander calls so en hulle klim ook eers baie later op. So ek dink ons is dan reg.
Okay. Mute maar net jouself.
Sign in, né?
Yeah.
Now log in again for the second time to the same class. Now when I log in for the second time in the same class, I'm taking a photo of it. Now it's asking me to join as a guest.
Okay.
And then I'm joining as a guest. It's asking me for my name. I'm putting in my name. And then now, let's see, the last photo. It says, oh, this one I can't be able to take a photo of it properly. Okay, there we are. Better lighting. Okay.
So is it still saying the same thing?
Yeah, it's still saying the same thing. So can we log in into that now on Teams and see if everything is correct?
Okay, we can do that. Are you going to join?
You,
Are you going to join Teams as an admin, or what? How are you going to do it?
let me.
Okay, guys. So yeah. So Viwe is busy testing. Hi, Viwe, are you back? So do you want login details, or do you have? Oh, okay. Okay, I'll do that.
Email address should I use to contact you?
You can Amanda at on Micros at Africa Teen Geeks.
All right.
Geek.
Okay.
Geek with a K. No.
All right. Let me send you a meeting request. Hold on.
But so now it says what you want me to check is only available after the live event. So should I end the live event?
Yeah. End the live event because we know we can't get in. Hey, hold on. Have you ended it?
No.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. I want to test. Listen to me. I want to test with my phone quickly.
Okay.
My other phone. So I want to see if I get the same thing. But in the meantime, I'm sending you a meeting request. I'm gonna send you a WhatsApp to tell you you can end it. Okay. I'm testing with another phone now. Alrighty.
Okay. Alrighty. Bye. Okay, Terry, jy kan regtig die pad vat as jy nodig het. Ek weet nie of jy daar is en of jy klaar die pad gevat het nie.
Nee, ek's nog hier. Moenie worry nie, oond is aan vir die lasagne so.
Nee, vrek, kan ek ook asseblief kry?
Jy's welkom, jy's naby.
Ja, ek sê vir jou hierdie team stories en daar's nog baie ander terugslae wat ek beleef so.
Sjoe man, hoor gou maar dit het nog nooit met my gebeur nie. Vandag is die eerste keer.
Ja, nee, ek weet, maar ek bedoel hulle verstaan nou nie ook nou nie lekker wat is fout nie.
Want presies want ek het gisteraand nou die eerste keer obviously gehoor dat mense sulke issues het. En toe dog ek maar ek hoef nie te worry nie want dit het nog nie gebeur nie. En ja wel,
Never say never.
Nee, ek weet. Maar jy weet mos hoe dink jy? Okay, moenie worry nie. Ons behoort okay te wees want ek het dit nog nie beleef nie. Verstaan? En toe ja. So ek het nou al 'n paar keer antwoord soos vir Andy Swase vraag vra dan antwoord te kom maar. Verstaan dat iemand net iets vir ons sê.
Ja. Okay, ek het nou die live event